Hi everyone, I'm Tabitha and I've read 5 more books. This set of 5 books is actually the last 5 for July, where we know I only got to like 11. So this set of books is 7 through 11 for the month of July, even though it's going up in August. I'm actually just proud of myself that I finished the last ones, because when I checked in with you on the monthly wrap-up, it was not looking like I was going to make it. But I did. If you're looking for my rating scale, that actually appears at the end of the video now. There's a helpful timestamp in the description that'll help you jump right to that to find out what I use to rate books. And in fact, there's also timestamps to help you jump to each book. So if you came here looking for a specific book or maybe to rewatch a book, you can use the timestamps to do that. Are you ready? Let's go. This next book was the book on my TBR with the highest reader average on Goodreads. The next book I read for the month of July is Slow Wanes the Night by Labadie. This is an adult age category fantasy novel. It was published in 2020 by Labadie Publishing, and it is 509 pages. This one actually came out in March and then was on the July review. This was actually the highest rated book going into this month. Your synopsis. Haunted by her past, half-immortal Gwendolyn journeys with Niles to the unknown to search for fate's lost lords. Meanwhile, Evelyn embraces her role as Starford's new ruler, rebuilding everything that was destroyed. All the while, fate herself is going mad with the approach of something that has the potential to destroy everything. So what didn't I like about this one? This one, I would say, kind of feels like it has a slow start. However, I feel like it's important to point out that that matches the mood of Everlee and Gwendolyn. I just tried to combine them into one person. It matches the mood of both girls. I think it reads slower than the back half of the book, but I almost think that was the point, but it can be tough to get through. Second thing I can say I didn't particularly like about this one, and actually this didn't bother me, but it's kind of a content warning for you. This one does include some sexual scenes between characters. If that bothers you, well, consider it a content warning. So what did I like about this one? Well, the first one, and this is a big one, is that these characters grow and change throughout the series. I don't particularly like a book series where characters remain completely static and they're the same characters at the end of the series as they were in the beginning, and you definitely cannot say that about this book series. Long Grows the Dark, which was the prequel to this one, Long Grows the Dark and Slow Wanes the Night feature the same characters. But in this book, the characters are different in response to what they went through in the first book. They feel different, they read different, they react different. I loved that. I loved that we could actually remember what happened in the first one based only off of how different they were in this book. That was awesome. I still love the characters, and I love even more that they changed. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is that the backstory that's given to Fate in this one worked really well. I loved that we're playing around sort of with creation of things in this one. It almost felt like an old myth. That was wonderful. Great vibe. Third thing I can say I loved about this one is the same thing I said I loved in the first one, the magic. The magic system is well developed. It's detailed. The characters' use of it is very realistic. It's amazing. I just adored it. I adored the way magic is played with in this one and how it's presented. Lastly, I want to say that I loved the ending for this book. It's well thought out, it's well chosen, it's highly satisfying, and it caps off the series really, really well. Who do I think should read this one? Obviously, if you're a fan of Long Grows the Dark, you should read the sequel, Slow Wanes the Night. But in general, I think if you're a fantasy fan who's interested in a world building that's really rich with magic and possibility, I think you're going to love this one. So my rating, 4 stars. I think this is an excellent book. Fantasy fans are going to love it. It's well written. In fact, the duology itself is well written, so I highly recommend both. So 4 stars to Slow Wanes the Night by Labadie. The next book I read in the month of July was It Will Just Be Us by Jo Kaplan. This is an adult age category horror novel. It's coming to you next month, actually this month, in August, by Crooked Lanes Books, and it is 272 pages. This was an electronic advanced reader copy that I got from NetGalley and Crooked Lane Books in exchange for this review. Your synopsis. Sam Wakefield's home is a decaying mansion built on the edge of a swamp. Its halls, built by her mad ancestors, are filled with the echoes of the past, ghosts, and memories. When her pregnant sister moves in after a fight with her husband, something in the house shifts. and Sam will be unsettled by the arrival of a new ghost, a faceless boy who commits disturbing acts. So what didn't I like about this one? I will say this has one slightly slow spot. It takes a tiny dip into the past for just one chapter. I didn't understand why that chapter was there. I didn't particularly like that chapter, and I felt like it kind of slowed it down. It was only one chapter though, so it's not a big complaint. Second thing I can say I didn't like about this one is it is jarring in some spots. And I want to say I think this was intentional. It lends itself to understanding that the main character is going through some things, and it kind of helps you understand what is going on with her. So it almost drops you in her shoes because you're as shocked or as jarred by things as she is. But I will say that as a reader, it is incredibly jarring, almost frustrating. You get lost. Again, that is the point, but it can be a frustrating feeling. The third thing I can say that I didn't like about this one, and actually it's not that I didn't like it, it's just a warning, is that this one does feature an unreliable narrator. I love that in the book, but if you don't like unreliable narrators, call it a warning. You might not love this one. So what did I like about this one? The first one, the big one, the setting of this book is amazing. It's an old Gothic style haunted house. It's taking the role of main setting and also a main character in this book. It kind of reminds me of The Haunting of Hill House in that vein, yet this was also built to confuse, kind of like the Winchester Mansion. Together, these two facts make for a setting that is intriguing and captivating, and haunted house fans are not going to want to miss this one. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is this is a twist on old horror tales. Imagine if a house held all the secrets of its past and played them back for you at random intervals, almost like ghosts or shadows of the past. It is a wonderful idea for a twist on a horror story. It just takes that and runs with it. It does a great job of it. It's just detail after detail after detail packed into the story of this house, and it was awesome. Truly an original concept, and I loved it. Third thing I can say I liked about this one is the minor details are well thought out and very important. The author spent a lot of time thinking about tiny little details and how they could work. They're woven into this book all the way through, and then they get put back together in a way that just wallops. I mean, it's wonderful. Really thought out, very well written. Who do I think should read this one? If you are a horror fan, especially if you like a good haunted house tale where the house takes a major role in the story, you are not going to want to miss this one. If you are someone who likes to be scared by a book, this one is going to deliver in a big, big way. My rating? I gave this one 4 stars. If Goodreads let me do partial stars, I'd probably do like 4.25. I just thought it was really, really well written. Haunted house fans, horror fans, you're going to love this one. Definitely tune into this one. Very well written, great book. So 4 stars for It Will Just Be Us by Jo Kaplan. The next book I read in the month of July was I Don't Know How She Does It by Allison Pearson. This was published in 2001 by Anchor Books, and it is an adult age category contemporary story, and it is 368 pages. Your synopsis. Kate Reddy manages to juggle a high-profile job and motherhood, but it's not always smooth, and even Kate has to admit that sometimes it takes its toll. So what didn't I like about this one? Kate, which is a problem. I wanted to relate to her. I wanted to like her. I wanted to connect with her struggle. I mean, after all, I'm a working mother. But instead, I found myself hating Kate. She had kind of a whiny attitude. I hated the way she treated her husband. I didn't relate to her in any way. I just think I wanted this book to speak to me, and when it didn't, I just wanted to walk away from Kate. That's a problem. Second thing I could say I didn't like about this book, oh my gosh, not all husbands, not all men are utter trash. They're capable of getting themselves dressed in the morning and doing things around the house, and I hate arguments that start with not all, and I realized I just did that, but seriously, someone needed to tell this character, this narrator, that there are husbands who run their household and do a better job of it than mothers could. I hated that. This author paints a picture that all men are complete garbage who can't do anything right and don't even know what a diaper is and never change a diaper. And it's just really a terrible way to feel about the other half of the parenting team. And I hated that. And that put me on the wrong foot the first time she mentioned it. That was a problem. The third thing I didn't like about this one is that I need to say that balance is possible. I went into this book hoping to read something that about maybe a woman who was trying to do it all, but then learned how to balance it, right? Learned how to balance motherhood and her job. I wanted her to get that big lesson. And I was hoping to laugh a little bit in the process. Instead, I got Kate, who obviously wasn't balancing well, had no desire to balance well, and didn't even seem to realize that she should be balancing. Like, she's dropping plates and she's like, okay, that's okay. I didn't need that plate anyway. And I guess I just wanted better. I had higher expectations for this book, guys. So what did I like about this book? So there were a few things I liked. I can say that I liked that the book handled that a harmless flirting sort of vibe to an email situation. I don't want to spoil anything, even though this book came out like 19 years ago and you may have already read it. I liked that angle. I liked the way it was handled, even more importantly. I felt like there was a message in that, and I'm glad they went there. Second thing I can say I liked about this book is there were places where Kate confronts herself or other women in the workplace of a big company like this, how they have to handle themselves, how they're working in kind of a men's world. I liked those. I liked those spots. I liked how they were handled. I liked the message that was in those. The other thing I can say I liked about this one is I really liked the Bridget Jones style sarcastic funny voice. I have a feeling that's what carried this book so far up the charts. Got it, it's movie. That's what I have a feeling carried it. The sarcastic funny sort of voice to that was great, but honestly I preferred Bridget. Who do I think should read this one? If you're of the opinion that men need to be coddled and mothered and that women should do everything in their household, you're probably going to like this one more than I did. My rating? I gave this one 2 stars. I found it incredibly problematic, but I will say the writing wasn't bad. So 2 stars for I Don't Know How She Does It by Allison Pearson. The next book I read in the month of July was Now You Don't by Tom Leveen. This is an adult age category horror novel. It was independently published in 2019 and it is a novella at 77 pages. I was given an audiobook of this one by the author in exchange for this honest review. Your synopsis. Jim is a graphic designer. Secretly, he's sleeping with his friend's ex-wife. When that same friend is gruesomely mauled in his own home, Jim figures it's a random act of violence. That is until more members of the family befall the same fate. Now, Jim fears his girlfriend or her daughter could be next. So what didn't I like about this one? Well, this first one is not actually something I didn't like. It's just a content warning. Although Tom typically writes for young adults, this one is definitely for adults. Gore, sex, and foul language all are going to have their turns here in this short 77-page book. The only other thing I can say I might not have liked about this one is that it's not entirely realistic. You have to be able to suspend your disbelief a little in this horror novel. I think that's okay, but you just need to be aware it's not going to be entirely realistic. So what did I like about this one? The audiobook is narrated by the author himself. That worked for this one. It was great to hear the author. I feel like his dialogue came across perfect because he knew what he meant for it to sound like. So it was awesome. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is it's scary, it's gritty, and it's gory. It's really exactly what I wanted it to be. I think I wanted to be scared. I wanted to be grossed out. I wanted a horror novel that just delivered. And this one, it definitely does. The next thing I can say I liked about this one is it is mysterious. I don't think I was expecting that. I don't think I was expecting to get a little bit of mystery here, but I mean, when you read the description, it just comes across as straight horror and monster, and I wasn't expecting mystery, so I was surprised by that. Really, Tom packed a lot into less than 100 pages here, and I loved it. So who do I think should read this one? If you are an adult horror short story fan, you're going to love this one. Specifically, I'm going to say this gave me Stephen King vibes, like Nightmares and Dreamscapes, Stephen King short story horror novels. That's the vibe I got from this one. If that's your kind of book, this is right up your alley. I will also say I was surprised to find this one would appeal to mystery thriller fans. If you like intense moments that gives you little thrills with a little bit of mystery for you to solve, you're going to love this one. Also, if you happen to like monster books, give this one a try. My rating? I just said it will appeal to 3 very different kinds of readers, so it's not going to surprise you to hear me give this one 5 stars. It's going to appeal to a very broad audience, a lot of people, but you have to be able to handle gore and adult-style writing. If you like that, give this one a try. 5 stars for Now You Don't by Tom Leveen. All right, watchers, you just heard me give this book 5 stars. That means if you have a book that you think is similar to this book, please make sure you drop the name of the book and the author down below in the comments, because I'll be choosing books based on this one for next month's TBR. This next book had been on my TBR list the longest before this month started. The 11th and final book I read in the month of July was Just One of the Boys by Leah Rooper. This is a young adult age category romance novel. It was published in 2017 by Entangled Teen, and it is 241 pages. Going into the month, this was the oldest book on my TBR. Your synopsis: Alice Bell has one goal, to play for the Chicago Falcons junior hockey team. But when she's passed up at tryouts just because she's a girl, she'll do anything to play, even dress up as her twin brother. So what didn't I like about this one? Okay, so I made it 3 chapters before I realized I was gonna have to read this one pretending that I didn't know anything about hockey. Everything in relation to this one, to the hockey world, was pretty much unrealistic. If you know a lot about hockey, you're going to have to be able to turn that part of your brain off to get any kind of enjoyment at all out of this book. Second thing I could say I didn't like about this one is the stereotypes. I feel like the biggest one I had a problem with would give away a huge twist in the book, so I can't tell you about that. So instead, I'm just going to say, it fell into the stereotype of if you're a girl who plays hockey, you must eat like a boy and actually hate figure skating. If you're a boy who plays hockey, you must secretly drink alcohol and like to get in fights. I mean, those are annoying stereotypes. They're not a deal breaker, but I would have liked to see this one take that stereotype and twist it into something different, and instead of just following in the footsteps. And again, I want to mention there is a bigger one that's going to annoy more people. That's not hockey specific, but I can't give it away because it was a major twist. Sorry. Third thing I can say I didn't like about this one is typos and errors. I wasn't looking for them, and I still found a handful. They're inevitable, so I don't normally mention them. No writing comes across as perfect. But if I noticed it, even though I'm not normally bothered by it and I wasn't looking for it, you might if you are bothered by them. So just if you're annoyed by typos and errors, call this a heads up. You may want to skip this book. The last thing I can say I didn't like about this one is it is a little unrealistic. More than just the hockey came across as unrealistic to me. You definitely have to be able to suspend your disbelief a little to enjoy this one. That's what I'm going to say. So what did I like about this one? The love story's cute. It's predictable, but it's cute, which I suppose was the point of the book, which is why it's a romance. So we'll give it that. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is that the girl in the sports world, although I honestly wish they hadn't put it in hockey because, again, it was inaccurate, whatever. Girls in the sports world is always a fun thing to play with. I did like her fierceness. I did like her dedication to the sport. I appreciated that the book highlighted the fact that she was willing to put in extra practice time, thought that was important. Like, she knew she had to be the best because she was coming in already behind the 8 ball because she's a girl. I liked that. She dreamed big inside her sport. That part was really cool. Who do I think should read this one? If you're a reader who loves cheesy romance lines and you don't mind sports, you may like this one. So be careful. What I just said was you like cheesy romance and don't mind the sports. I don't think it's going to work the other way around. I don't think if you love the sports and don't mind cheesy romance lines, you're going to love this one. So be careful. I will say specifically, if you like that movie, She's the Man, remember that movie with Amanda Bynes? You're probably going to love this one because very, very similar book. My rating, I gave this one 3 stars. It's not bad for the right reader, and I think if you are that reader, you're probably going to think this one is great. So 3 stars to Just One of the Boys by Leah Rooper. Okay, that is it for me and the last 5 books that I read in July. I am just glad that I finished them. I think if you check my Goodreads, I want to say I finished Just One of the Boys on like the 29th or 30th. I mean, I cut it really close, so cross your fingers that I have better luck in August. Yeah. We hope. Anyway, thank you for being here. Please drop a comment to let me know you're still here. Hit subscribe and tap that little bell so you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your own dreams, and I will see you next time. Bye. Watchers of this channel will already know this, but I do book reviews every time I've read 5 books. You should know that I don't read just one specific age category or genre. I'm actually a reader of pretty much anything. So I will make sure to tell you what age category, what genre it is, and more importantly, what kind of readers I think will love the book that I'm reviewing. I do use a 5-star rating system to review all my books, so I'd like to take a quick second to tell you about that system. 5-star ratings are reserved for books that I absolutely love, that I think transcend genre. In other words, you might love this one even if you don't normally read the genre it's written in. 4-star books, on the other hand, are books that I absolutely love and think are great books, but they're more specific to the genre they are written for. 3-star ratings are for books that I think are good books, but they have a really niche audience. You might not love this one, even if you normally read this genre. 2-star ratings are the ratings I reserve for books that I think are problematic. I do try to explain some of the problems in the What I Didn't Love section so that you know if it's the kind of thing that would really bother you or not. 1-star rating, on the other hand, are reserved for books that I honestly didn't enjoy and can't recommend. They're just not for me. All right, with that out of the way, let's get to the reviews.